Good evening, my name is Aine Duffy and you're welcome to Cavan TV's News and Views. This programme is brought to you weekly on Fridays 7 to 8. Each week we take a look at what is going on in the county and we invite guests to chat live in our studio. If you would like to be a correspondent for your area, you can email us at drumlinmedia@gmail.com. So if you have something interesting going on in your area, please do let us know. This week my guest in the studio is Barney Cully from Arva and Marion Smith from the Tourist Office, and we're going to talk about the gathering and local news. Later on in the programme we have the Cavan County Council Estate Scheme and Award, a clip from the Estate Wars that we launched last Monday night. So to the big international news of this week, and of course the big story is of the election of a new Pope in Rome. Argentine Cardinal Mario Bergoglio was chosen as the 266th Pope in Rome this week. From now on he will be known as Pope Francis. He is the Church's first Latin American pontiff. He is relatively young at 76 and is already showing a more humble approach as pontiff. In his first blessing in St. Peter's Square, he asked for prayers of all men and women of goodwill to help him lead the Church. The President, Michael D. Higgins, sent his good wishes to Rome. And on county news, a very successful National Ladies GAA Congress was held last weekend in the Radisson Hotel. About 120 strong group of ladies laid out their schedule and plans for the coming year and are glad to note that Cavan Ladies GAA is going from strength to strength. Recently rumours were abounding in the media that Cavan would be back up for Derry to hold the All-Ireland FLA. This was all based on speculation that in the event of troubles flaring up before the FLA, Cavan would be part of a contingency plan. Lars O'Murchu issued a statement this week that the threat of violence was not an issue and plans for Derry to hold the FLA are at a very advanced stage. And to local news, a quick rundown of the local news. In Kilishandra on Sunday evenings at 8 p.m, you can go to along to a car boot sale. Both cars and jeeps are €10 and the proceeds are all in aid of the new community centre in Kilishandra. In Curla there will be a craft and gift fair on Sunday in the Sleeve Russell. It starts at 9 a.m. and it goes through right till 6. Arva, St Patrick's GFC, were going to hold a Come Down With Me, but we hear now that would be postponed until further notice. And the contact there was Barney Cully, who is in the studio with us tonight. In Mullahoran, local residents are getting ready to launch the local Tidy Up. Now that the evenings are getting brighter, locals are seen out and about tidying the countryside after the winter months. In Ballintemple, a good spell of weather sees farmers getting a chance to spread slurry, as this is one of the times of the year that they can do so. And Belturbet has, as part of the town's 400th birthday, a night of revival through songs, stories, poetry and music. This will take place in the Railway Goods Store on March the 17th at 8 p.m. Okay? In Bombay Templeport, a bazaar will be held in the local community centre tonight at 8 p.m. Please support as it's in aid of St Mogue's National School. And Drumlane, plans are in place to celebrate a dawn mass in Drumlane Abbey on Easter Sunday morning. Ballyborough, there will be a peace concert hosted by Ballyborough Community Choir in the Church of Ireland on Saturday the 16th of March at 8:30. All donations are for local charities. Killincare is starting up its local community text alert. Information is available from local man Freddie Kettle. This Sunday being St Patrick's Day, watch out for your local parades. A quick look at the towns and times. In Kilishandra, 12:30 it starts. In Kingscourt at 12:45. Ballyborough 2 p.m. Arva starts at 2:30. Ballyconnell starts at 2:30 as well. Cootehill has its parade for 3 o'clock and Kinnerleck also 3 o'clock. Ballyjanestuff has the later time of 4 p.m. Black Lion also has 4 p.m, as does Swan and Bar 4 p.m. Ballinya has a later time again of 4:30 and Mulla at 5 o'clock. Ballinamore parade goes off at 4 o'clock. And Cavan Town Parade will start at 12:30. It starts off in Tesco car park, and Cavan TV will beam the event all over the world via the internet. And just a bit of good news there as well, that Cavan TV has just reached its 1 millionth viewer on the internet last weekend. So cause of celebration there for Cavan TV. So where can you go and what can you do this week in Cavan? Well, the Cavan Drama Festival presents 10 plays in its festival this year. The Drama Festival is in its 67th year. It starts tonight and continues till the final night, which is Sunday the 24th of March. Booking is, as usual, done through the Credit Union. Now, if you would still like to be a Rose of Tralee, there is still time, as applications are available at www.roseoftralee.ie, or there's a phone number there, and it's Ring Angela on 087 811 5391. Cavan Juniors talent is still going on. Things are really heating up now as we are through to the semi-final, which will take place in the Imperial at 4 o'clock next Sunday. The competition is for 10 to 17-year-olds, at 17-year-olds, and it's the 5th week of the 7th week competition. Things are really heating up. The 6 stars are left to battle, and we have there Alana Donna from Lacken, Kiefa Sexton, Hannah O'Reilly, Leon German, Anthony O'Hanlon, and Chloe Bannon. As usual, Paul Cox will be the MC, and again, it's on St Patrick's Day in the Imperial at 4 o'clock. Go along to Bono Community Centre and see the 8th annual Crackers Variety Show. It starts at 8:30 and it runs through until the 10th of March. Move Over Mrs. Markham is the name of a play by Ray Cooney and John Chapman. Its performance is Saturday night, the 9th of March in Cross Hall, Mulla. It's performed by Slieve Gow and it's a dark comedy. The Mogus Theatre informed us that they are still auditioning for a male actor for their acclaimed show Shooting Stars. There is a contact number there, and it's 085 155 076. Go along to a game tasting evening in Barney Mac's on this Saturday night, and the game will be provided by Crestoni Gun Club. There is a dog afternoon in McGinnity's Bar this Saturday afternoon. It's on from 1 to 6. There will be bric-a-brac sale, open fire, live music, and it's all in aid of Cavan SPCA, and there's a donation there of €5. Anybody interested in hill walking can go along to the car park at the Orchard Bar on Sunday mornings at 9:30. All you need is a good pair of walking boots and a packed lunch. Okay, so my two guests in the studio tonight are Marion Smith from the Tourism Office, and I've asked Marion along to talk about the gathering, and I've also asked Arvaman Barney Cully to come in and talk about local news, and actually they're actually going to talk about both things because local news and the gathering was well connected now. So I'd like to thank you both for coming into the studio. I'd like to talk to you first, Marion, and just to say, like, where did the idea of the gathering initially start?
Well, it started with the Department of Tourism and Leo Varadkar. That's how it started first, Anya, and obviously it was muted within the government front bench, the ministers.
This is the first year of
the gathering. This is the first year of the gathering, and I suppose the Taoiseach himself would have an affinity to an event like this because he too was once Minister for Tourism, and he did start the great promotion of Ireland, not Cavan, but of Ireland, and then of course that progressed. And this year, following 3 years off the Fleadh, we're really out there to promote Cavan because we launched our new brand. This is Cavan.
Yes, the Taoiseach launched that.
The Taoiseach launched this, and you know, he couldn't believe that we had brought Cavan to such a high level, and not only for fun but also for investment. You know, there's more to tourism than just coming and sightseeing. During the Fleadh, we had a lady over here called Cal Cole, and she has expressed an interest through our enterprise CEO Vincent Reynolds that she would like to come back to Ireland and see to Cavan and see if she could do some investment and bring a project here. So that's where we're at, and the gathering, of course, then continues on.
It is. Like, the gathering is getting plenty of news. You have like Gabriel Byrne speaking out about it, and Michael D. Higgins is
that's
like
correct. Yeah, well, there's a great hunger, I think, and I suppose what it's doing is it's bringing communities together. It's communities working together. I'm sure Barney will realise that as well. You know, you have the GA maybe working with the town development or whatever. And in my case, and what we're doing for the gathering here in Cavan, Paddy Connaughton, he is actually spearheading it, and I'm working closely with him from tourism. And there's about nearly 80 events happening you know, starting
County-wide.
Okay. And that my main involvement in this is supposed to help people with the marketing of their event, etc., to promote it.
So they organise their own events
locally,
locally,
yeah.
and they will then give you the information.
Yes.
You feed out this information.
I can feed out the information
via
the tourist office and via the web, our own web. This is cavan.ie. And in Cavan itself, there are about 4 to 5, I suppose you could say, main events. You know, you could call them hero events, for use of another word.
Okay.
And in April we have the NAF Festival. Now the NAF Festival has been ongoing here, and of course Martin Donoghue is the one. And
with that,
and I mean Martin is great, and he's attracting a lot of people to Cavan Town in that month. And we also have the Sean Maguire Festival. Now Sean Maguire is a new one, and maybe it would continue, but this is just it's a monument that's been erected to Sean Maguire, the great fiddle player.
Yes.
And again, that is supposed emanated
in
Mullahoran, Kilcogie. And that all started.
So if anybody watching does have information, say, okay, we'd like to get ours publicised. Marion, have you got a booklet or anything that you're putting it into? Or
yeah, we can manage it on the web. We can
putting it up on your web.
Yeah, this is cavan.ie. Yes.
Okay, so they contact the tourist office.
Oh, they can contact my office 04985 475 43. Keep forgetting 8547
So if anybody wants to give information about things.
But the main one is the Life of Riley, the 19th to the 25th of August, and that is piggybacking on the FLA. The FLA will be over in Derry on the 18th, and we are organising competitions and feshes and.
People were getting a little bit excited there last week in the media. I just kind of read there briefly earlier that there was kind of rumours going around that in case anything happened, I'm sure you heard them as well,
yes,
like trouble down the north, like because there has been unrest in Belfast.
The FLA's in Derry, and we were down there.
There's no chance of it coming
back
to Cavan.
Absolutely no chance. We would love it, but there's no chance. And in fairness to Derry, we were down there, and they're progressing very well. And then it's in Sligo in 2014 as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring Barney in there. Barney, you were telling me earlier on when we were talking there that you're about 30 years gathering up the news and the news in your locality. As you know, this is a news and views program, and I was hoping to get some tips from you. So, gathering the news and views in your locality, do you have to go out and actually get the news, or do people come to you with the news?
Well, it's a bit of both. I suppose I started because I was in Dublin for a few months, and you'd go down to Eason's at the time and get the Celtic or the Longford Leader. There was 2 of us together.
There was no online those days.
There was no online then, and you'd read through it and you'd look and you'd notes from everywhere, only Arva. And then when I came home, Mrs. Farrell was the editor of the Longford Leader, and she got on to me, and I started doing it then. Then after a number of years I started doing it for the Anglo-Celt as well, because they didn't have proper correspondent, I suppose, as such.
Yeah. So once you have a good feel of an area, you know exactly what people want, what they want to see, and what's good for the area as well. Well, what have you got in there? You'll have the GEA. Everybody, a lot of things are done through the GEA. And actually, I'd say as well that you're going to bring in, a lot of GEA are going to do gathering programs this year. Gathering programs. Yeah.
There's, I think it's the weekend of the, we're having the international rules, the first test up here in Kingspan Breffni Park, which is going to be, I think it's going to be a tremendous weekend for Cavan, as well as for Breffni Park, Kingspan Breffni Park. And we have a number of events where we're going to line up. We have nothing just sorted yet, but we're going to line up a good range of events. We're working on that. And we have, I suppose you say, GA clubs are the heart of every parish, I think. And that brings, in its own way, brings out the rivalry among neighbouring parishes and all that's good in the GA. And as long as it's left on the field, and I think it always is, and it's a great organisation to be part of. I've been in it, I suppose, since growing up with it.
It's the heart of every, as you say, it is the heart of every parish. And when anything needs sponsorship and gathering things brought in, the GEA are the big, they lend their hand and they can get the crowds, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Like some years ago, there, young Philip Brady from Arva started with he done a sponsored cycle from Dublin to Cavan, and the following year we have from Dublin to Arva, and the following year we had an all-star match in our own park at home. And the next year, then he come up with the idea of doing the Breffni 20k, which is a walk from. We start off out at the Meadowview and walk to Arva, which is it's over actually 20k. And the money for that all goes to St. Luke's.
Yeah. It's just getting bigger and bigger every year, that event. Many years is it now, did you say?
Last year was the 10th. This year will be the 11th, and we had the 2 years prior to that as well.
You had some weird participants in that. Do you remember the guy that was on a blade or something? Do you remember the skier, the on the road skier? Do you remember that?
Well, I remember
and
well.
Did you see a woman? There was a few on a horse from Ballinya.
Yeah.
That was my sister.
Right.
She rode the horse from Ballinya.
Yeah.
And I said, how are you going to get it back to Ballinya? But she had it organised. It was okay. So yeah, you know, the more you know.
Oh yeah, well
something different it raises, you know.
That guy on the skates lives in Arva.
Oh, does he?
Yes.
I saw him one year now.
His name is Wolfgang Welch. He's a German. He's married to a neighbour of mine.
Did he just do it 1 year?
No, he does it every
Does
year.
he do it every year?
And I was actually going to Longford last week one evening, and he was out the road on his skates. I don't know how he does it, but
you should take it up now, Barney, as well. See
so
what you'd look like.
Can buy that at this stage.
No, I don't think so, Barney.
So Barney, just to get back to your talking about reporting the news in an area and things like that, and I like the way, you know, that when you do read news from an area, it's always good news, or you know, news for people wanting to get together and get funds to build a new community centre or for the national school and things like that. But in an area then when there are sensitive issues like, you know, things like that, it's dealt with well as well, sensitively as well.
Well, you know, you have to look for the feelings of other people when you're doing something, and I suppose, as you say, you try as best you can to bring good news, and obviously there are times with deaths and that sort of thing, but you try to handle it as sensitive as you can, so you're not going to
so that
is
a very important thing to do that, isn't it?
It is. You know, when people will come to you and tell you bits, or tell you a bit of crack about some other fella that he doesn't really want in the news, but you put it in any for the crack and everyone gets a bit of a laugh, and sometimes you put in a few stories at different times where I didn't put any names. Nobody knew, only the people involved, and myself, and people would ask you, like, what was it about? But you wouldn't tell them. The boys that were involved would know, and you know, it's a bit of a laugh too. You can't be serious the whole time.
And also as well, I find that reading the local news, that it's actually nice when somebody local dies, and there's a nice a tribute, befitting tribute put in by somebody who actually knows the person and knows their life, and it's a true account of that person. So it's good as well. Yeah,
sometimes, you know, you sit down to write that and you realise that, well, you knew the person maybe all your life, maybe you don't know that much about them when you start into doing it, but a few phone calls here and there to friends and maybe some of the family, that you'll usually get a good feel for the person, you know.
Did you ever get into trouble, Barney, for any stories?
Well, not officially, but
did you ever get accosted anywhere, say?
No, I did not.
They'd be afraid, don't you?
I don't think they'd be too afraid now, but no, like there's times I put in funny bits of that, and people
they look for the humour as well. It's always on the humour.
A fella told me one time to put in a bit that he says there's the lotto win for up. He says I'm going to win the lotto. Excuse me, and he says T-Bone is here Saturday night. He says, don't forget to put that in the Darwin News. So I said that he won the lotto and that there was T-bones in this particular place. The phone never quit ringing the whole day, Wednesday and Thursday. He rang me and he ate me out of it. But I said, she told me to put it in, so what was I supposed to do? You know, but he could see the fun. He said like it was on, but you need a bit of fun like that too. Of
course, and small areas. That's what people like. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
To see their locality characterised. You know, as well. You know, good news stories. We want to hear more of those. But how do you feel that there's a lot of you know, foreign people, you know, Eastern Europeans in rural areas now. How do you feel they fit in with that kind of thing? Are they just keep away from it, or do they get it at all?
I don't think they do really. I have a few of them actually working with me, and they're great fellas, you know, great workers and all that. But I don't think they really
wouldn't have the humour.
Get into
they don't get our humour, do they?
No, not at all. No, they can't understand.
You know, they know they have their own contacts, and they just
and like, you know, at the start, I remember one of them saying to me, what time we started, and I said, sure, around 9, you know. But is that 5 to 9? I said, no, it's around 9. He couldn't understand it was around, it just had to be a particular time, you know, and you know, they're great timekeepers and all that. I find with the people I have anyway, but I don't think that they get into it. A lot of them find it hard, I suppose, to learn the language too.
But that is the way they'll get into it if they do get out and meet people.
Oh, it is true, yeah.
Because their children go to school, you see, and they learn English very well, and they teach the parents.
Yeah.
But so you find that they don't really get into our kind of stories and things like that.
Not really. Some of them now. I have one.
Or news, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, they wouldn't be surely buying the local papers and reading the news, but would be very. I find a lot of them are very, very technical minded. You know, they're great on the internet and they're Skyping home and they've all sorts of mod cons. Like I would be rooting about, as the fellas is with the internet and the computer and that. But they are highly intelligent in that sort of
They
work.
are very clever at
Yeah.
mechanical things and
Yeah.
IT and things like
Yes,
that,
yeah.
unbelievably so, and so the children. Do you see any of these people getting involved, like in like community? Do they get involved in community groups and go to to go to fundraising events like that, or even GA? Do they even strike out and play games or anything
No,
like that? Train or
not yet.
anything
And
like that?
I think as you said there, it's going to take a while until the kids come along
Yeah.
and go to the local national schools
School,
and get
yeah.
involved in GA there. And I think from there on there will be more and more involved. You know.
Yeah, so this is probably just the first generation over, and they're with their own partners, most of them. They're not integrating, marrying as yet with Irish people, should they not?
No,
Yeah.
and I
That'll
suppose
break down the barrier then, I'd
it will,
say.
of course, but I think maybe to an extent they're maybe, I'm not say afraid, but but they're not. They haven't got into the run of the thing the way we, I suppose, mess about through other isn't maybe the right word to say, but you mix through other and
We're a bit more laid back
yeah,
than
yeah,
them.
yeah. And they would probably feel that if they went to your house that they'd be imposing on you, and
Yeah.
I think that's
Well,
more or
again,
less.
it's just a blending of the cultures, and,
Yeah,
and they will
yeah.
get, they will see, that
Yeah.
they come round. So, Marion, and you were going to talk about the O'Reilly.
Yes,
The O'Reilly.
there is a gathering event. That's the
gathering of
O'Reilly
Okay, tell us about
clan gathering, and there's a Vincent O'Reilly who is he's spearheading that, but he was in with me last week speaking about it. And Connie Riley, a colleague of mine who owns Crover House Hotel, he's working in the United States. So they have their own committee set up, and they're working really well, and they have meetings in all the major towns around the county. And Connie is working as well in the United States, and indeed there's somebody in Canada. Yeah, so this will be really bringing diaspora home, in conjunction with Fáilte Ireland, and I have to thank my colleague Jim Miley, who is the senior exec working on this from Fáilte Ireland, and his staff. They've been very helpful and very good in promoting our events here, which is great. There will be the crowning of the O'Reilly chieftain. There will be an election prior to that, of course, so there will be candidates, and there will be the election, and there will be the counting of votes for an O'Reilly chief. And that will all take place during the week of the 19th to the 25th of August. The 19th is
so
the
we're
month.
hoping to get the Irish people over here
Yes,
for that.
yes.
So that's a great big melting pot then of everything.
It is,
really,
of course,
yeah.
and particularly Americans.
Diaspora, get them home.
My director, Owen Doyle, and the Cathaoirleach of Cavan County Council, Councillor Paddy O'Reilly, they're out in New York as we speak, and and they will be with Anita Brady, the Face of Ireland. She's the Grand Marshal of the parade. So hopefully we have sent out our lovely brochures with them, and there are presentations being done. I've sent them off with plenty of work to do, and they're going to hopefully get 99% of it anyways out there to the diaspora to come home here, because when we actually went looking through our directory of diaspora, we have an amazing amount of very, very important and high profile people. Let's say like Al Smith. Al Smith would have ancestors, I think, Drumkilly, some in Mullahoran, and he is a senior attorney, highly respected out there. So people like that we hope to touch base with. Patricia O'Reilly, who is the manager of the Out of Ireland programme. She's originally from Ballyjames-Duff. Well, her father.
So with St Patrick's Day coming up on Sunday, I mean, everybody's going to have an Irish connection, don't they?
Yeah, and you know, again, when you talk about St Patrick's Day and you're looking for news, we have a committee in Cavan called Culture Cavan. Culture Cavan works with both communities, Catholic and non-Catholic, and we have a great coordinator, Anne O'Reilly, and we're talking about bringing communities together. And this is one group that this committee have really brought different groups of different religious beliefs together cross-border, and it's really working well. And if you're at the St Patrick's Day parade here, we're going to have a float, and this float is as a result of workshops where members of the different communities participated. So there is a lot going on in Cavan, and we have become very artistic, and we are out there. And
it is becoming a big melting pot.
Absolutely, yes. And we have beautiful scenic areas in Cavan, and this brochure here will actually demonstrate what we have and the beauty of Cavan. Our lakes are the biggest attraction, of course, and our food. Yes, we have the Walking Festival. That's in May, which we're working really, really hard on it to promote it at the moment, and my colleague Blahin O'Reilly has done tremendous work, and her committee as well. And we also, in that month, we have the Bealtaine Arts Festival. Arts is really becoming very focused in our county. You know, one time
definitely you could see that with the FLA.
Yes, with all the
Barney,
plays.
You could see what all the plays.
You
and,
probably saw that, Barney.
all the art around the town.
That's
the
correct.
outdoor art.
Yes.
Called
Trans art.
Trans
And then we had the
fantastic.
installations, and we had the plays. We have workshops. You know, there is so much going
We've good
on.
writers as well.
Absolutely, and great actors.
Yeah.
Great writers, great actors. So we're really out there. So we have a lot to offer. We're becoming a very colourful county to the tourist. For somebody who comes that week, if their children are in workshops or they're participating in FESH or whatever else, we will have events for their parents to go to, or their older sisters, be it a walking tour of the town, be it a play to go and see an art exhibition, you know, music exhibition. We have a lot planned. And again, we want to keep the momentum there that was built on of 3 years of the FLA, where Cavan was actually a great place to come to. And there was a quote, John Creedon, he was doing Box, and there was a quote, and there was this man was there, and he says, I was never in Cavan before, and it's a great spot. I'm going to save up and be a man from Cavan. And you know, it was just, he was just so passionate. He wanted to be from Cavan. He thought this town has so much to offer.
It does. It really does. Between art, act, you know, the
Heritage,
drama,
culture,
heritage.
And the one thing too that we have here, and
is
it's
the museum.
The museum,
Fantastic
yes, museum in Ballyjamestoff, and Savina, my colleague who manages that, she does tremendous work, and that museum is busy with visitors, school tour groups. She has exhibitions, works really, really hard.
Yeah.
And coupled with that, then we have our genealogy department in Cavan County Council.
And also, to get this all around, all over the world, Cavan has got the first live web TV, and it beams out all over the world.
Yes. And
so you can have Cavan in New York right now, you know.
That's right. So to all you people out there, come to Cavan the 19th to the 25th of August. You will be surprised at what we have to offer.
What is your website for people to get on and see what you have?
Well, you can go on to the Gathering website here, thegatheringireland.com, okay, or www.thisiscavan.ie. They can do that either. But if they go onto the Gathering website, and just to follow up on the genealogy, because a lot of people are now trying to trace their roots, Barney, it's becoming very popular, and it's a very big thing.
Yeah. So you tell us about the genealogy.
Yeah.
So you go in with the name of your family.
If you go in with the name of your family, and you will meet a lovely lady there called Concepta McGovern, and her colleague is Mary Sullivan, and you go in and you say, look, I have this here. My grandfather came from Mullahorn, or my great-grandfather came from Mullahorn, and he died in 1838, and his mother's name was. Well, Concepta will trace that for you and start you off tracing your family tree.
Yeah, but say if you have a name like O'Reilly or Smith or Brady, and you're from Cavan, because I had an interesting thing in my mind a couple of weeks ago. You know the way that it was the 70th anniversary of the Sinclair's fire, orphanage disaster.
Yes.
And I saw a couple of names from Ballinya, of two young girls from Ballinya. I thought I'd love to trace back and see what was their family, what was their story. Could you go and do something?
Oh, absolutely,
like that?
yes.
Or can you do something
you can,
like that?
You can, of course.
Is it legal even?
Well, I don't know. The legality of it now might be something, but perhaps Jonathan in the library. We have great historians here as well. We have Jonathan or Tom Sullivan in our library here, and you know, they might be able to trace something of their families. You know, but to go in and actually, because what you'll be tracing there is who their father, their mother was, or whatever else. You know. I don't know, but I mean, do speak to Concepta. She is the expert on it.
Concepta's the person to go
Concepta
to
is the person, and you can email Concepta at cavangenealogy@aircom.net.
Okay, well done. So Barney, out in Arva, they all know each other well out there, of course, don't they? So what are you planning for have you got any plans for the gathering?
We have.
The GAA, I'm sure they're doing something.
Well, no, there's a committee there. I'm not actually involved in it. I didn't go in as far as it yet, but I'm sure I'll get something to do closer to the time. But from the 26th of July to the 5th of August, they're running. That's about 9 or 10 days, I think. And it's starting off. There's the Ghost of Arva. Now, I'm not sure what that is about.
That's about, yeah.
The Three Provinces Trail. We're on unique in that the Ulster, Connacht, and Leinster meet just outside our town.
Okay.
So they're going to have a walk out there, Three Provinces Trail. Then they're going to have our annual agricultural show. That's what 50th year or so at this stage. That'll be part of that. They're having a drama night, the Breffni Challenge. That'll be in it as well. That'll be all part of it. They're having a Back to the Future, they're having a fair day. Back when I was growing up, Arvo was renowned as having one of the best fairs in the country. Buyers came from down south and everywhere. And they're going to reenact that in the town as well.
Well done, well done. Well, Barney, you know what? In the future, we'd like to ask you, being a local correspondent, like you keep us in touch with your news, and we'll put it out there on Cavan TV News and Views. And also, if you watch the logo as it comes in, you'll see a very nice picture of Arva there as well, included in there. Yes, yeah. Well, thanks very much for coming to the studio this week. Thanks very much, Barney, and thanks to Mary.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so last week we saw the launch of the Cavan Town Council Estate Awards, and Brian Hoare, the town clerk, launched the event in the town hall in Cavan.
You're very welcome to the launch of the 2013 Cavan Town Council Estate Enhancement Grant and Awards competition. You'll remember that last year we had a launch like this when we changed the entry form and the competition slightly to link it in more closely with the National Tidy Towns competition. And that launch went very well, and we decided that we'd do a similar launch this year. And but what we have done is, in deciding to do the launch this year, is we've decided to make it a little bit different to what we did last year. So what we have this year is, I've lost my own notes now, sorry. I was nearly reading the Mayor's speech. That wouldn't do it also, wouldn't. In deciding to do this year's competition, we thought we'd do something a little bit different, and we've asked a number of groups who've done particularly well in the competition in the last couple of years just to give a talk on their own experience of the competition, what they've done, what kind of difficulties that they overcame, and how they kind of got people together within their areas to overcome those difficulties. And we also have a talk then from Heather Bothwell on biodiversity in an urban environment. If you can think back to last year's competition, one of the things that we emphasised was the importance of, I suppose, the link between this competition and the National Tidy Towns competition. And obviously biodiversity plays a huge part in that. And we knew that there was a lot of work being done within the estates which actually fitted into the Tidy Towns competition very well, but we weren't capturing it properly. And everything that was being done in the estates was going into the residential category of the competition for Tidy Towns. By changing it last year, we actually captured a lot more information that was relevant to some of the other categories in Tidy Towns competition. And we did increase our points. And you can see here in front of me, just to the right and the left there, are the two awards that the town won in last year's Tidy Towns competition, the overall County Cavan Award, and also for the first time Cavan Town won a bronze medal in the National Tidy Towns competition, which is a significant achievement. That the town has never won one of these before, so that's credit to yourselves. So this evening really it's not a formal event as such. We will have the two estate groups. It's the Steeples Estate and Glenara who'll be giving their perspective on the competition. Then obviously Heather's talk then as well. And there will be an opportunity there for questions and answers with regard to this year's competition. But before we get into that, I would just like to ask the Mayor of Cavan Town Council, Councillor Des Cullen, just to welcome you all here this evening and to launch this year's competition.
Thanks very much, Brian. So just to all the councillors who are here and everyone who's come along, to firstly welcome you here. I think the estates competition is probably one of the biggest and one of the best things that the town council has been involved in over the last number of years. I think it's brought a huge amount of people together. I think it's brought some great community spirit into a lot of the estates around the town, and I think that the town has benefited greatly from the amount of work that everyone puts in on a voluntary basis. So to have this competition launched again, I think is very important, and I know that the elected members, all of them, were very keen that in a time where budgets are tighter to manage and there's not as much money for the councils to spend, that we would never cut this competition or the funding to it, and in fact we've kept it, you know, at the levels that's necessary and required because of the high value that we put on it. It has been very, very successful over the last number of years, and every year we have an increasing number of estates joining the competitions. There's been huge improvements in all of these estates. You just have to drive around and look and see the amount of work and the quality of work that's gone into every part of it. And that reflects so important on the town, not only the competitions that Brian has mentioned. Our results in Tidy Towns competitions over the last number of years have been really, really impressive. That if you, judges have told us that if you can increase your Tidy Towns competition points by maybe 2 or 3 a year, it's considered a huge improvement. And I think over the last 3 or 4 years, our points have gone up by 15, 20, maybe more. So there is a huge benefit there. There's a lot of work that's gone around the town that I think we should also acknowledge. I think if when we have members of the Tidy Towns committee here as well, we should acknowledge the work that they've put in with the redevelopment of the Green Lock area. I don't know if anyone's had a chance to walk around it yet, but it's in its early phase of development, but I think it's a fantastic walkway, and it's something that everyone that was involved in that should be very, very proud of. And the quality of the work in it was so much that there was 2 national competitions, Chambers Ireland and the Local Authority Members Association, where that work alone was nominated for a national award. Now, they didn't win the overall award, but they were in the top 3 or 4 competitions or projects that were nominated. So it was a great achievement. So I think the Tidy Towns Committee deserve a great round of applause for their work. I think I'd like to welcome not just everyone here, but the estates that are going to make their presentations. I think Glenlara and the Staples and also the Heather, and where all of them are going to share some of their ideas and their experiences, and I think that would be well worth having. I'd also like to thank the people who have sponsored different things throughout it, particularly Tractor Motors and Woodies, who are here, who've had representatives here this evening as well, because they've been very generous towards the Tidy Towns committee and to the council in helping us with the work that's been going on around the town. I think later on we will be making some presentations to the estates that achieved litter-free status last year, and the litter-free status is something that's been taken from the Eyeball Business Against Litter League, and again the town, we were very proud of the fact that we came 2nd overall in the years in the competition. And I think the level of commitment and the amount of effort and work goes into it is that we were actually a bit disappointed to come 2nd, because we felt that the town definitely looked good enough to come in 1st place. And that's all done through a culmination of obviously our council outdoor staff who are out cleaning streets, to people in businesses in the town who make the streets and make their business properties look so attractive, and to everyone in the residential areas who have done so much work. So I think there's been a huge community effort that has given Cavan a real status of being a very clean town and a good town to come in and to look, that looks really, really well. I'm going to make one little political point on the whole thing tonight. As I said, this has been a very important event in the town council over the last number of years, and probably most of you will be aware that come 2014 there will be no more town council. And the decision will be made by government soon that town councils will be abolished, the county councils will take over the competition. So all that I'm going to ask you to do is that when elections come up in 2014, and if the town councils are going, you'll have less county councillors looking after the area. The one question to ask them on the doorsteps when they come around knocking on your door is, are you going to fight to keep the funding and the competition and the goodwill and the community spirit that has come through these awards? Because I think town councils and most of us and all of us on the council are very sad and disappointed to see well over 100 years of history gone. But please, when you're being knocked on, when somebody's knocking on your door for the next local election, ask them to promise to keep this event. Well, I think it's just something that, because we're coming near the end of our time, just for people to remember. I think there is a need for town councils, particularly towns like Cavan, but if nothing else, fight to keep this competition and keep the funding for this. Okay, I'm going to hand you back to the town clerk now and just say thank you all for coming along again. We're looking forward to seeing the work over the summer. It's always great to see the enthusiasm of people, and I'm coming back again in October for our awards night, which is always a night where I know that there's great displays of pictures and of work that's gone on, and there's great competition on the night where people are looking to see who's won, but there's also great cooperation from people talking about the work and sharing their ideas, so that's something that's important as well. So just thank you all very much.
Better just check if the right speech in front of me this time. Yeah, again, thanks to the Mayor for launching this year's competition. And as I said earlier on, what we have now is a series of talks from two of our estates that have done particularly well in the last couple of years, and then also from Heather Bothwell as well. So if I could ask Brendan Connolly from the Staples Residents Association to come up, just to give the perspective from the Staples. And while Brendan is just coming up and getting ready there, just to say that when you register this evening, every estate gets a registration pack. And within the registration pack are the guidance notes for this year's competition and the actual application form and entry form for this year's competition. And there's other bits of information in regard to from the Tidy Towns handbook on developing residential areas and what can be done and what can't be done, I suppose, in many cases. So that's all contained within the pack which you receive when you register this evening. So, Brendan, if you're ready.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brendan Connolly, Chairman of the Residents Committee in Steeples. Basically, we start off with our spring clean in April, and most residents, everybody chips in and helps out. Last year now we done vegetable patch, which we all used scaffolding boards, so we donated from Jimmy Jackson came to us. We made a board bat. There was a lot of work put into that. If you ever take a chance, take up a walk around the area, you'll see it for yourselves. There was a lot of work put into it by a couple of ladies there with hammers and chisels to make it. Basically, we just keep the place clean, cut the grass. We all keep together this community and work hard together. That's about it, really, you know. So, if anybody any questions or anything, you know. Yeah, we've done the vegetables. That's the vegetable patch, and we put up board boxes and yolks for bees and butterflies and all that for the young. That's all I have to say. So I'll hand it back over to Brian. Thank you.
I just ask Brendan one question before he goes off the stage, and it's just you mentioned there about the vegetable garden.
Yes.
How did the idea come about, or who came up with the idea for it?
It was just a few of us got together and we said we'd plant a few vegetables for the year, and we just planted a few cabbages and turnips, carrots, stuff like that. And most of the residents had a few of them during the year, so they were actually nice, you know. They're all organic stuff, yeah.
Okay, and then you mentioned as well about a butterfly garden.
We have like a butterfly boxes, you know, for butterflies to nest in. They're down beside the board boxes down the back in the green area, you know.
Have you noticed an increase in the number of butterflies in the springtime or summertime?
Well,
that's no fair question, maybe I know, but I'll ask anyway.
It is actually, because there's one of my neighbours has actually a butterfly tree in the back garden, and there's you could have 100 or 200 around within a week, like, you know.
Okay, Brendan, thank you very much. Well done. The next group then, just to give again a talk on their own perspective of the competition, is Glenlara residents. So can I ask Catherine McKeown to come up to give her talk? Again, while Catherine is making her way to the stage, I should just point out that for both the groups, they did have a PowerPoint presentation ready, but unfortunately we've had a few gremlins in our IT system this evening, so we can't actually see the pictures that they had prepared, which it's unfortunate, but unfortunately these things do happen. But I'll hand you over to Catherine now anyway.
Thank you, Brian. Hi, good evening, everybody. About this time last year, we had a residents' meeting and we decided on what we were going to do during 2012. And it was around the time of the spring clean, so obviously we have a very, very large green area, about 2 acres, and including lakeside, the whole lot. So we weeded, we trimmed, we edged paths, which was really, really tough work, but it was done. And we collected all the rubbish and segregated it and got rid of it in the correct manner. We also got the lake cleaned, and I have never seen so much rubbish coming out of a lake, just at the edge of the lake. A skip was actually filled. So that was great to see that being done. We're in Glenlara, we were in it about 21 years last year, and to mark the occasion, I beg your pardon, we're 22 years. So we planted a mature 22-year-old horse chestnut tree right in the centre of the large green, and that is coming on a treat at the moment. And we reckon the first conker is going to be on the tree when the youngest child, I think, in the estate is going to be, what, 14, 15? It's going to take a long time, but it'll be there when we're all gone, just to remind people of what we did. We're working very hard in our wildlife, flora, fauna. It is something that's going to be always ongoing because we're only learning, like everybody else. As I said, it's one of those things that is a constant learning curve on it, and we are hoping this year to erect a notice board, an outdoor notice board down in Glenlara, just to show people exactly what flora and fauna is in the area and what's indigenous to the area. We also we cleared an alleyway behind just 4 houses. Now this is a pilot project that a few of us took on, and we built a raised bed, and we also have, sorry Brendan, we also have organic vegetables. We're hoping to have fruit next year, but we didn't know you were doing it. So that has been fantastic. We also set up a water harvest, harnessing, excuse me, my voice is going. Yes, we're harnessing rainwater. We have it in a water butt. Now, I'm not very good at speaking about these things because it was one of our neighbours who actually put it all together, but trust me, it works. And we've already collected with 1,000 litre butt, and we can water all our plants and our flowers with it. So we're hoping that the rest of Glenara will take this on at some stage. And last but not least, we also put in a composter, which was something that we hadn't done before, and that is being duly filled constantly. And we'll have our own compost, as time goes by. Because of the large area we live in, or the large green we have to take care of, we found it very, very expensive getting somebody in to cut grass. So to cut costs, a few of us got together and we decided we'd put the money to it ourselves, and we bought our own sit and ride mower. And it only cost something like the use of it for the whole year, maybe 100 to 200 euro, whereas we're paying out that in thousands to get somebody in to cut it. So from that point of view, we're becoming very, very self-sufficient, and we're all very proud of that. So this is where we are at the moment. We're hoping to continue. Our main thing at the moment is protecting flora and fauna. Thank you.
Okay, so that was the launch of the Cavan Estate Awards on Monday night a week ago, and we wish the very best to Brian Hoare there and the scheme. Well, last Wednesday we went along to the Cavan Institute, where the students were having a charity day and they were raising money for local charities. And as a grand finale, they organised a Harlem Shake. Well, as you know, the Harlem Shake has gone viral on YouTube, and all the students got together and organised the brilliant Harlem Shake.
Institute, and I'm with one of the tutors, Rachel Rudden, and Rachel has just organised Charity Day, and you ended off with a great Harlem Shake. Rachel, go ahead and tell us all about it.
Yeah, so now I wasn't the only person, there's plenty more people. The Student Services Officer and kind of spearheaded it, and Lorraine O'Dwyer. So they pretty much organised. We had a whole big array of activities happening in the canteen. So we had manicures, massages, oriental food, and it was all for local charities. So all for local Cavan charities. So we've rounded it off with
the great Harlem Shake.
Harlem Shake, yes, and we got fabulous weather, as you can see.
And you went outside for it, and it just what?
It absolutely pelted. It started to rain. Then the hailstones came down, but it didn't stop. Okay, and the audience stayed. We stayed. It was great. Yeah, it was great. Just a good way to round it off, and it's a craze that's taken over nationally, internationally.
Absolutely, it's gone viral.
Absolutely, yeah, gone viral. So sure, look at why not join in. Absolutely. So yeah, we had say 50, 60 people.
Right, okay, so have you any idea how much funds you raised for today? Not yet.
No, there's plenty of buckets, good heavy buckets, so yeah, we get that all totted up and we let everyone
know. So that's one of the many interesting things you organise out here in the college, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, there's always something happening. You never come into this building and be empty or dead. There's always something happening out here. So today it's just kind of a culmination of all of those, and it's, you know, get a little bit of steam out. There's students with exams.
What's your next thing coming up now?
Our next thing, it's kind of, this is pretty much rounding up for the year, so it's kind of good to get it out of the way. So nice Paddy's Day weekend, and
the Harlem Shake was a good way of getting rid of the frustration.
Absolutely, definitely a stress reliever, staff and students. Great.
Okay, there you go. Hard to beat a Harlem Shake in the hailstones, and some familiar faces in there as well. Well, that brings this week's show to an end. I'd like to thank this evening's guests, Barney Cully from Arva, and of course Marion Smith from the Tourism Office. Again, be here next week with News and Views, Cavan's News and Views from 7 to 8. Good evening, have a good weekend.